Okay, let's jump right into this explainer and, well, completely demystify how you secure and execute digital assets on the blockchain. If you've ever wondered what's truly happening under the hood when you click approve on a transaction, or, why some people store their wealth on devices that look like little flash drives, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to decode the entire architecture of self-custody. Here's our roadmap for today. We're starting with wallet cryptography, moving into hot wallets, then cold storage, checking out smart accounts, and finally, we'll break down the offline signing blueprint. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the cryptography of wallets. So we need to fundamentally reframe our understanding of what a crypto wallet actually is, because, surprise, it doesn't actually hold your cryptocurrency. Your assets, they're always living out there on the blockchain's distributed ledger. Your wallet is literally just a key management system. It holds the private keys, that secret cryptographic data that grants you the authority to sign messages and actually move those assets. It's simple, really. Lose the key, you lose the authority. Protect the key, and you protect the wealth. Now, modern wallets generate these keys using a standard called BIP39 for hierarchical deterministic or HD wallets. It starts with raw entropy, which is just pure cryptographic randomness. That randomness generates a human-readable 12 or 24-word seed phrase. And from that single master seed, using specific mathematical derivation paths, like m/44 prime for Ethereum, your wallet can spawn this infinite predictable tree of public and private key pairs. Think of it like a giant cryptographic family tree. It means one simple backup phrase secures millions of potential addresses across multiple blockchains. Pretty wild, right? All right, moving right along to Section 2, hot wallets and the connected convenience they bring. A hot wallet is defined by one core trait. Its environment is connected to the internet. Software applications like MetaMask, Phantom, or your standard mobile crypto apps fall right into this category. They store your private keys, encrypted right there in your local browser or mobile device's storage. And the massive advantage here is obvious. It's convenience. They give you seamless Web3 connectivity, they allow for lightning-fast active DeFi trading, and they cost absolutely nothing to set up.
But, and this is a huge but, you absolutely must understand the inherent trade-off here. Because your private keys reside on a device that touches the internet, you are exposed. Hot wallets are highly susceptible to browser exploits, hidden keylogger malware, malicious smart contracts, and some really sophisticated phishing attacks. If a bad actor compromises your computer, they can potentially extract that local storage file, decrypt your keys, and just drain your funds. Convenience, for sure, always comes with a security cost.
So how do we solve these exact vulnerabilities? Let's dive into Section 3, cold storage, and the power of absolute isolation. Just take a look at the crisp contrast between these two operational environments. On one side, we've got our hot wallets, optimized for speed, but as we saw, vulnerable to network malware. On the other side, cold storage, hardware wallets like a Ledger or Trezor. These are dedicated physical devices, and they're often packing military-grade EAL 5+ secure element chips. The foundational, absolute rule of cold storage is that your private keys are generated inside the device, and they never ever leave that physical isolation layer. Even if you plug it into an infected, totally virus-ridden computer, your keys stay safe behind a digital air gap. So, you might be wondering, how do you actually transact if the device is so isolated? Well, let's look at this secure flow. First, your standard computer constructs a raw, unsigned transaction. Second, it transmits the details over to the hardware wallet, maybe using a USB cable or totally air-gapped via QR code. Third, the hardware wallet signs the transaction internally using that isolated private key. And finally, it passes back a signed broadcast-ready cryptographic payload. The private key stays locked in the vault. Only the mathematical signature ever leaves. But what if you lose that hardware device? Or, what if you're managing millions in a corporate treasury? That brings us to Section 4, smart accounts and multisig. Relying on a single key is just a classic single point of failure. By utilizing smart contract wallets, like the industry standard SAFE protocol, we can implement multi-signature or multisig architectures. This means a transaction might require 2 out of 3 or say 3 out of 5 designated keys to approve it before it actually executes. On top of that, standards like SLIP039 let us use Shamir's secret sharing to cryptographically split a master seed phrase into multiple shares. When we combine these tools, we eliminate single points of failure entirely. We can even program in cool features like daily spending limits or specialized role-based access. Don't just take my word for it. Listen to this quote directly from Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin. He explicitly states he uses multisig for over 90% of his personal funds. He spreads the keys among devices he owns and people he trusts. I mean, this perfectly validates the absolute necessity of multisig architecture for bulletproof asset management. If the creator of the network insists on it, we should probably be paying close attention. Okay, let's descend into the deepest part of the lab for Section 5, the offline signing blueprint. We're going to look at a programmatic offline transaction signing simulation. This is exactly how the cold storage magic works in code. The mission begins by isolating the environment completely. Using a library like Ethers.js, you set up an offline local environment. You load your mnemonic seed phrase here in this purely cold disconnected layer and derive the wallet object locally. Essentially, you're arming the payload offline, entirely out of reach from the broader internet. Next, you construct the exact raw transaction payload offline. You define what you want to do and verify every single parameter: the destination address you're sending to, the exact transfer amount in Ether, the gas limit so you prevent infinite computational loops, and critically, the chain ID. That chain ID ensures this transaction is only valid on the Ethereum mainnet and can't be maliciously replayed on some other network. Once that payload is built, we execute the tactical broadcast. First, you call the sign function inside your cold isolation layer. This generates a signed, serialized hex payload. Now, to the human eye, this is just a string of cryptographic gibberish, but on the blockchain, it is mathematically undeniable proof of your authorization. Then you transport just that hex payload over to an online machine, your hot gateway. Finally, you broadcast that payload to the network. The transaction goes live, and your private key? It remains a complete ghost. Before we wrap up this explainer, I really want to emphasize the human element of this whole architecture, because even with perfect programmatic signing, your ultimate defense is human verification on a physical, trusted display. Always check the recipient address and the amount on the hardware wallet screen itself, not just your computer monitor. Malware can fake what's on your computer, but it cannot fake the secure element display. And the golden rule: literally never type or expose your raw mnemonic seed phrase to an internet-connected terminal. Just don't do it. So I want to leave you with this question to ponder. Are your most critical digital assets currently sitting in an internet-connected browser extension, or are they safely isolated in an air-gapped cryptographic fortress? Take a hard, honest look at your security architecture today. Ask yourself what steps you need to take to truly master self-custody. Because learning these layers, from basic cryptography all the way to multisig and offline signing, is exactly what separates the vulnerable from the truly sovereign. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer today.